The day the Imperium trembled. In the far reaches of the galaxy, the Zorgax Imperium reigned supreme. With an empire spanning thousands of star systems and a military might unrivaled by any other civilization, the Zorgax had grown complacent in their dominance. Their vast armadas patrolled the space lanes, their conquered worlds trembled under their iron fist, and their emperor sat upon a throne of unquestioned power. But on one fateful day, a small human exploration vessel, the Destiny, accidentally strayed into Zorgax space. Captain Mira Everly, a seasoned commander with a fierce determination, led her crew of intrepid explorers and scientists on a mission to chart unknown regions of the galaxy. Little did they know that their simple navigational error would soon send shockwaves through the very foundations of the Zorgax Imperium. As the Destiny emerged from warp speed, alarms blared on the bridge. The view screen filled with the imposing sight of a massive Zorgax fleet, thousands of ships strong, arranged in a menacing blockade formation. The sleek, angular vessels bristled with advanced weaponry, their hulls emblazoned with the fearsome emblem of the Imperium. "Captain, we're being hailed by the Zorgax flagship," Lieutenant Amara Singh reported, her voice tight with tension. Mira straightened in her command chair, her eyes narrowing. On screen, the view screen shimmered, replacing the sea of enemy ships with the sneering visage of Zorgax Admiral Korzak. His reptilian features were twisted in a look of contempt as he regarded the human intruders. "You have violated the sovereign territory of the Zorgax Imperium," Korzak declared, his voice dripping with disdain. "Your primitive vessel is now the property of the Emperor. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Mira felt the weight of her crew's lives resting on her shoulders. She knew that surrender would mean a fate worse than death, a lifetime of subjugation and humiliation at the hands of the Zorgax. But to fight against such overwhelming odds seemed like pure madness. In that moment, a spark of defiance ignited within her. She refused to let her crew, her ship, and the pride of humanity be crushed beneath the boot of Zorgax tyranny. With a steely resolve, Mira made a decision that would change the course of history. "Admiral Korzak," Mira replied, her voice calm and unwavering. "I am Captain Mira Everly of the Earth ship Destiny. We have no quarrel with the Zorgax Imperium, but we will not surrender our freedom. We may be small in number, but we carry the spirit of all humanity with us, and humanity does not bow to threats or intimidation." Korzak's eyes widened in surprise at the audacity of this human captain. "You dare defy the might of the Imperium. Your arrogance will be your undoing." As the communication cut off abruptly, Mira turned to her stunned bridge crew. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice ringing with authority. "We're going to show these Zorgax what humans are made of." The crew sprang into action, their training and dedication overriding their initial shock. Mira outlined her daring plan, a series of precise warp jumps and coordinated strikes that would allow the Destiny to punch through the Zorgax blockade and escape into the safety of uncharted space. It was a plan born of desperation, relying on the ingenuity and skill of her crew to outmaneuver the technologically superior Zorgax ships. But Mira knew that sometimes the greatest strength came not from the size of one's arsenal, but from the indomitable human spirit. As the Destiny charged forward, weapons primed and shields at maximum, Mira felt a surge of pride in her crew and in the legacy of human resilience. They were about to face impossible odds, but they would do so with courage, determination, and the knowledge that they carried the hopes and dreams of all humanity on their shoulders. And so on that fateful day, a single human ship stood against the might of an alien empire, ready to defy the very laws of probability and rewrite the rules of galactic power. The Zorgax Imperium was about to learn a lesson they would never forget, that the strength of humanity could never be underestimated. The stage was set for a battle that would echo through the annals of history, a testament to the unyielding spirit of a species that refused to be conquered. In the face of overwhelming adversity, the crew of the Destiny prepared to fight, to survive, and to show the galaxy what it meant to be human. David vs. Goliath, As the Destiny surged forward, Captain Mira Everly's heart raced with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The Zorgak's fleet loomed before them, a seemingly impenetrable wall of advanced technology and firepower. But Mira knew that sometimes the greatest victories were won not through superior numbers, but through cunning, skill, and the unbreakable human spirit. With a series of precise warp jumps, the Destiny blinked in and out of existence, appearing and disappearing like a ghost among the Zorgak ships. The alien vessels, caught off guard by the sudden and erratic movements of their tiny adversary, struggled to lock onto the human ship with their weapons. Mira's tactical brilliance shone through as she coordinated her crew with the precision of a master conductor. Lieutenant Singh, her fingers flying across the helm controls, wove the Destiny through the gaps in the Zorgak's formations, narrowly evading the searing beams of energy that lanced through the void. In the gunner's seat, Lieutenant Commander Mikhail Petrov unleashed a barrage of concentrated fire, targeting the weak points in the Zorgak ship's defenses with uncanny accuracy. The advanced targeting systems of the Destiny, coupled with Petrov's skill and instincts, allowed them to punch far above their weight. As the first Zorgak ships exploded in brilliant bursts of plasma and debris, confusion and panic began to spread through the alien ranks. The Zorgaks were used to conquering through sheer force, not facing an enemy that could outmaneuver and outfight them at every turn. In the heart of the Zorgak's flagship, Admiral Korzak watched in disbelief as his mighty armada was thrown into chaos by a single human vessel. His initial contempt for the upstart humans quickly turned to a grudging respect, tinged with a growing sense of unease. Back on the Destiny, the crew worked as a well-oiled machine, each member pushing themselves to their limits. In engineering, Chief Engineer Lena Sato and her team fought to keep the ship's systems running, rerouting power and repairing damage on the fly as the battle raged around them. Mira's mind raced as she analyzed the Zorgak's fleet's movements, anticipating their strategies and countering them with bold, unconventional tactics. She knew that they couldn't outfight the Zorgaks forever, but if they could just create enough chaos and confusion, they might have a chance to slip away. With a final daring warp jump, the Destiny appeared directly above the Zorgak's flagship, its weapons aimed at the massive vessel's bridge. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as Mira locked eyes with Admiral Korzak through the view screen. In that frozen instant, a silent understanding passed between them, a recognition of the strength and determination that lay within the human spirit. Korzak, his face a mask of grudging respect, gave a small nod of acknowledgement. Then, with a blinding flash of light, the Destiny unleashed a volley of quantum torpedoes, the advanced warheads tearing through the flagship's shields and hull like paper. The bridge of the mighty Zorgak's vessel erupted in a cascade of explosions, the once proud ship now a flaming wreck. As the flagship's destruction sent shockwaves through the Zorgak's fleet, Mira seized the opportunity. With a shout of "now," she ordered Lieutenant Singh to engage the warp drive, and the Destiny leaped forward, vanishing into the stars just as the remaining Zorgak ships turned their weapons upon them. In the aftermath of the battle, the Zorgak's emperor received word of the catastrophic defeat. His fury knew no bounds as he learned that a single human ship had destroyed dozens of his most powerful vessels and crippled his flagship. The blow to the Imperium's prestige was immeasurable, and the emperor vowed revenge against the upstart humans. But for Captain Mira Everly and her crew, the narrow escape was a moment of triumph against impossible odds. They had proven that human ingenuity, courage, and skill could overcome even the most daunting of challenges. The Destiny had become a symbol of hope, a shining example of what humanity could achieve when pushed to the brink. As the battered but unbroken ship set a course for Earth, Mira knew that their fight was far from over. The Zorgaks would not rest until they had hunted down the Destiny and crushed the human resistance. But she also knew that as long as the indomitable human spirit burned bright, they would never surrender, never give in to despair. The legend of Captain Mira Everly and the Destiny had been born, a tale that would inspire generations of humans to come. In the face of an implacable enemy, they had shown that the greatest strength of humanity lay not in their weapons or their ships, but in the unbreakable bonds of courage, sacrifice, and the refusal to accept defeat. And so, as the stars streaked past the viewports of the Destiny, Mira and her crew prepared themselves for the battles to come, knowing that they carried the hopes and dreams of all humanity with them into the unknown. Ingenuity born of desperation. As the Destiny hurtled through the void, the adrenaline of their narrow escape gave way to the grim reality of their situation. The ship had sustained heavy damage during the battle with the Zorgex fleet, and the crew now faced the daunting task of repairing their crippled vessel in the depths of uncharted space. Captain Mira Everly surveyed the damage reports with a heavy heart. The Destiny's shields were barely holding. The warp drive was on the verge of collapse, and several decks had been rendered uninhabitable by the brutal pounding they had endured. But even in the face of such adversity, Mira refused to let despair take hold. She gathered her crew in the dimly lit mess hall, the emergency lighting casting a somber glow over their faces. They were battered, exhausted, and far from home, but in their eyes, Mira saw the same unyielding determination that had carried them through their darkest hours. "We've dealt a heavy blow to the Zorgax Imperium," Mira began, her voice steady and resolute. "But our fight is far from over. The Zorgax will stop at nothing to hunt us down and destroy us. We need to repair the Destiny and find a way to even the odds, or we'll be nothing more than space dust in the face of their next assault." As the crew absorbed her words, a voice rang out from the back of the room. It was Chief Engineer Lena Sato, her face smudged with grease and her eyes alight with a fierce determination. "Captain, I think I might have a solution," she said, stepping forward. "During the battle, I noticed something strange about the Zorgax ship's warp signatures. Their technology is advanced, but it's based on principles similar to our own. If we could salvage some of their warp cores and integrate them into our own drive." Mira's eyes widened as she grasped the implications of Sato's words. "Are you suggesting that we could not only repair the Destiny, but also upgrade her with Zorgax technology?" Sato nodded, a grin spreading across her face. "Exactly. It won't be easy, but if we can pull it off, we'd have a ship that could outrun and outfight anything the Zorgax throw at us." The crew erupted in a buzz of excited chatter, the prospect of turning the tables on their enemy reigniting the fire in their hearts. Mira felt a surge of pride in her crew's resilience and ingenuity, knowing that they would stop at nothing to protect their ship and their people. "Let's get to work," she declared, her voice ringing with newfound determination. "We have a ship to rebuild and a war to win." As the crew set about their tasks with a renewed sense of purpose, one man stood at the center of the frenzy of activity. Genius engineer Samuel Cade, his mind racing with calculations and schematics, worked tirelessly to unravel the secrets of the Zorgax technology. Day and night, Cade labored over the salvaged warp cores, his hands a blur as he rewired circuits and reprogrammed subroutines. The other engineers marveled at his skill and dedication, knowing that the fate of the Destiny rested on his shoulders. As the days turned into weeks, the Destiny began to transform under the crew's tireless efforts. The once battered ship slowly regained her strength, her hull gleaming with newfound power and purpose. The integration of the Zorgax technology was a delicate and dangerous process, but under Cade's guidance, the impossible became reality. Meanwhile, Mira and her bridge crew worked to evade the relentless pursuit of the Zorgax death fleet. They knew that their window of opportunity was rapidly closing and that they needed to complete the repairs before the enemy could catch up to them. Lieutenant Singh pushed the Destiny's engines to their limits, coaxing every last ounce of speed from the strained systems. In the sensor station, Lieutenant Commander Petrov kept a watchful eye on the long-range scanners, tracking the movements of the Zorgax ships and plotting evasive courses through the treacherous void. Finally, after countless sleepless nights and near misses with the enemy, the moment of truth arrived. Chief Engineer Seto reported that the warp drive modifications were complete, and that the Destiny was ready to put her newfound capabilities to the test. Mira felt a thrill of anticipation as she gave the order to engage the upgraded warp drive. The ship shuddered and lurched as the alien technology meshed with human ingenuity, propelling them through the fabric of space-time at unprecedented speeds. As the stars streaked past the viewports in a dizzying blur, Mira knew that they had achieved something remarkable. The Destiny was no longer just a lone human ship, outmatched and outgunned by a vast alien empire. She was a symbol of the indomitable human spirit, a vessel that had been forged in the crucible of adversity and emerged stronger than ever before. With renewed confidence and a ship that could match the Zorgaks blow for blow, Captain Mira Everly and her crew set their sights on the battles to come. They knew that the road ahead would be long and perilous, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay in store. For in the depths of space, where the fate of humanity hung in the balance, the crew of the Destiny had proven that the greatest weapon of all was the unbreakable bond of human courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to surrender in the face of impossible odds. And as the Zorgaks Imperium trembled at the thought of the human ship that had defied their might, Mira and her crew knew that they were just getting started. The legend of the Destiny was only beginning, and the galaxy would soon learn the true strength of the human spirit. Turnabout is fair play. With the Destiny reborn, and her crew emboldened by their newfound power, Captain Mira Everly set her sights on a daring plan to strike back at the heart of the Zorgaks Imperium. The once hunted human ship now became the hunter, as Mira and her crew laid a trap for their unsuspecting enemy. Using the advanced stealth capabilities of the upgraded Destiny, they slipped undetected into a heavily fortified Zorgak star system. The alien empire had grown complacent in their dominance, never imagining that a lone human vessel would dare to penetrate their defenses. As the Destiny drifted silently through the void, Lieutenant Commander Petrov worked tirelessly to map out the system's defenses and identify the key targets. The Zorgaks had amassed a vast fleet of warships around their central command station, a heavily shielded behemoth that served as the nerve center of their military operations. Mira studied the holographic display of the enemy fleet, her eyes narrowing as she formulated a plan of attack. The Zorgak ships were arranged in a tight defensive formation, their weapons primed and ready to annihilate any threat that dared to approach. But the Destiny had an ace up her sleeve, the modified warp drive that now allowed her to outmaneuver and outpace even the most advanced Zorgaks vessels. With a series of precise jumps, the human ship could dart in and out of the enemy formation, striking at their weak points and sowing chaos in their ranks. As the bridge crew made their final preparations, Chief Engineer Sedo voiced a concern. "Captain, even with our upgraded systems, we're still heavily outnumbered. How can we hope to take on an entire Zorgaks fleet and emerge victorious?" Mira smiled, a glint of determination in her eyes. "We're not going to take them on directly. We're going to use their own strength against them. Watch and learn." With a nod to Lieutenant Singh, Mira gave the order to commence the attack. The Destiny leaped forward, her warp drive flaring to life as she blinked into existence in the midst of the Zorgaks formation. For a moment, the alien ships were caught off guard, their sensors struggling to lock onto the human vessel that had appeared out of nowhere. But as they began to bring their weapons to bear, the Destiny was already on the move. With lightning speed, Singh piloted the ship through a dizzying series of warp jumps, each one carefully calculated to bring them within striking distance of a key Zorgaks vessel. Petrov unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes and plasma beams, the devastating weapons tearing through the enemy shields as if they were made of paper. As the first Zorgak ships exploded in brilliant fireballs, confusion and panic began to spread through their ranks. The tight defensive formation that had once been their strength now became their weakness, as the ships found themselves unable to maneuver without risking collision with their own allies. Mira watched with grim satisfaction as the Zorgaks fleet descended into chaos, the once proud vessels reduced to a tangled mess of twisted metal and shattered hulls. The Destiny wove through the carnage like a dancer, her movements precise and deadly as she picked off the enemy ships one by one. In the heart of the Zorgax command station, the alien generals watched in horror as their fleet was systematically decimated by a single human ship. They barked desperate orders and deployed every countermeasure at their disposal, but nothing could stem the tide of destruction that the Destiny had unleashed. As the battle raged on, the Zorgax ships began to turn on each other in their panic, their weapons firing wildly as they sought to escape the inferno that had engulfed them. The Destiny pressed her advantage, her crew working as a seamless unit as they pushed the enemy to the breaking point. Finally, with a massive explosion that lit up the void like a second sun, the Zorgax command station erupted in a ball of plasma and debris. The once mighty heart of the alien empire was reduced to nothing more than a shattered hulk, its destruction marking the end of an era of Zorgax dominance. As the remnants of the Zorgax fleet scattered in flood, the Destiny stood alone among the wreckage, her hull scorched and battered but her spirit unbroken. Mira and her crew had achieved the impossible, striking a blow against the Zorgax that would be felt across the galaxy. News of the Destiny's victory spread like wildfire, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of all those who had suffered under the yoke of Zorgax oppression. On distant worlds, long-subdued species raised their heads in defiance, emboldened by the knowledge that the alien empire was not invincible. For Mira and her crew, the triumph was bittersweet. They had struck a mighty blow for humanity and all those who yearned for freedom, but they knew that their fight was far from over. The Zorgax would not take this defeat lightly, and they would stop at nothing to hunt down the Destiny and exact their revenge. But as the battered human ship set course for home, her crew knew that they had forever changed the balance of power in the galaxy. They had shown that courage, ingenuity, and the unbreakable human spirit could overcome even the greatest of odds. And as the stars streaked past the viewports of the Destiny, Mira and her crew looked to the future with renewed hope and determination. They had become the stuff of legend, a shining beacon of defiance in the face of tyranny and oppression. The Zorgax had learned a bitter lesson, that the strength of humanity could never be underestimated. And as the Destiny journeyed on, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, the galaxy trembled at the thought of the power and potential that lay within the human heart. The legend is born. In the heart of the Zorgax Imperium, Emperor Calax sat upon his throne, his face a mask of cold fury as he listened to the reports of the catastrophic defeat. The holographic displays before him painted a picture of utter devastation. Thousands of Zorgax ships reduced to smoldering wreckage. The once mighty fleet scattered and broken by a single human vessel. Calax's clawed fists clenched and unclenched as he struggled to contain his rage. For generations, the Zorgax had ruled the galaxy through fear and overwhelming force, their dominance unquestioned and unchallenged. But now, a lone human ship had dared to defy their might, striking a blow that had shaken the very foundations of their empire. The Emperor's advisors cowered before him, their voices trembling as they delivered the grim news. The Destiny, captained by the now infamous Mira Everly, had not only destroyed a Zorgax fleet 10,000 ships strong, but had also crippled their central command station, the nerve center of their military operations. Calax's mind reeled at the implications of this defeat. The Zorgax had always viewed humans as a primitive, insignificant species, barely worth the effort of conquest. But now, the actions of Captain Everly and her crew had shattered that illusion, revealing a strength and resilience that had caught the Imperium completely off guard. As the Emperor brooded on his throne, his thoughts turned to the future of his empire. The news of the Destiny's victory would spread like wildfire across the galaxy, emboldening those who had long chafed under Zorgax rule. Rebellions would flare up on a dozen worlds, the oppressed masses drawing inspiration from the human ship that had defied an empire. Calax knew that he could not let this challenge to his authority go unanswered. The Zorgax had to strike back, and strike back hard, if they were to maintain their grip on the galaxy. But even as he plotted his revenge, a small part of him couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for the humans who had dared to stand against him. Far across the stars, on the distant blue world of Earth, Captain Mira Everly and her crew returned to a hero's welcome. As the Destiny soared through the atmosphere, crowds of cheering humans gathered to catch a glimpse of the ship that had become a symbol of hope and defiance. Mira stepped out onto the landing pad, her face weary but triumphant as she was greeted by a sea of grateful faces. Men, women, and children reached out to touch her, their eyes shining with tears of joy and pride. For so long, humanity had lived in the shadow of the Zorgax, their lives constrained by the ever-present threat of alien conquest. But now, thanks to the bravery and skill of Mira and her crew, they had been given a chance to stand tall, to reclaim their destiny among the stars. As the celebrations continued, Mira found herself surrounded by reporters and dignitaries, all eager to hear the story of the Destiny's incredible journey. She spoke of the challenges they had faced, the sacrifices they had made, and the unbreakable bond of human spirit that had carried them through their darkest hours. But even as she basked in the glow of victory, Mira knew that their fight was far from over. The Zorgax would not take this defeat lightly, and they would stop at nothing to crush the human resistance. The road ahead would be long and perilous, but Mira and her crew were ready to face whatever challenges lay in store. In the weeks and months that followed, the legend of Captain Mira Everly and the Destiny only grew. Across the galaxy, oppressed species whispered their names as a rallying cry, a symbol of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. The Zorgax, once seen as an unstoppable force, now found themselves on the defensive, their grip on the galaxy weakening with each passing day. Rebellions flared up on a dozen worlds, the emboldened masses rising up to throw off the yoke of alien oppression. As the tide of war began to turn, Mira and her crew found themselves at the forefront of a new era, a time when the strength and resilience of the human spirit would be put to the ultimate test. They knew that the battles to come would be the most difficult they had ever faced, but they were ready to meet them head-on. For in the heart of every human there burned an unquenchable flame, a fierce determination to defend their home, their loved ones, and their way of life. And as long as that flame continued to burn, no force in the galaxy, no matter how powerful, could ever truly extinguish the light of human freedom. As the Destiny set course for the stars once more, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, Mira and her crew knew that they carried the hopes and dreams of all humanity with them. They had become more than just a crew, more than just a ship. They had become a symbol of the indomitable human spirit, a beacon of hope in a galaxy that had for too long been shrouded in darkness. And as the stars streaked past the viewports of the Destiny, Mira knew that no matter what the future held, no matter how powerful the enemies they faced, the legend of the human ship that had defied an empire would live on forever, a testament to the courage, the resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity.